Hello, gorgeous Slumber Party listeners. It's Tim here. Just want to remind you that this podcast is now on iHeartRadio. And if you're enjoying this podcast, I'd love it if you'd rate it, leave a review, and make sure you're subscribed on iHeartRadioBroadway.com because we have some unbelievable guests coming your way very, very soon. Enjoy this episode.
He used to wet the bed, but now he doesn't. So let's have a slumber party.
Hello, and welcome back to Slumber Party Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Murray, and this is the podcast where I interview drag queens, Broadway performers, and comedians about their slumber party experiences growing up. And this week, I have such an unbelievably open-hearted, warm, and hysterical guest. You know how there are people in this world where you'll see them on TV and you think to yourself, I connect so deeply with that person. They align with so much of who I am and who I want to be. Well, for me, that was Britney Spears. I don't have Britney on the podcast this week, but I did just watch Framing Britney Spears, and it did absolutely blow my mind. I did record this episode with our guest before Framing Britney Spears came out, and now that it's taking over all gay social circles and taking over the world, I'm going to do a Patreon episode about Framing Britney because I have much to say. But in all seriousness, the guest I do have on the podcast brings me so much unbridled joy. She is the founder of the Nina West Foundation. That might give away who it is. She's the host of Dragcast podcast, and she was voted Miss Congeniality on season 11 of RuPaul's Drag Race. It's the one, the only, Nina West. Hi, Nina. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. How are you?
I'm so good. I have to tell you, I wore something very special for you today.
Hold on, is it Disney?
It's not Disney, but I did just watch Your Stars in the House with Alan Menken and Joni Benson, and I am freaking out for you and for me and for all of us.
Okay, wait, what are you wearing? Tell me what you're wearing.
So I do a stand-up show around the country, but I'm from Sandusky, Ohio, and
America's Roller Coast.
America's Rock and Roller Coast. And I did my show in Columbus about a year and a half ago, before the pandemic. And I do a whole reveal in the show where I do a Britney Spears dance and I reveal to a Britney shirt. And I forgot my Britney shirt in LA. So I went to Goodwill in Columbus and got this Pride Columbus, Ohio shirt.
God.
And I wear it every day. It makes me so, so happy.
So cute.
Isn't it cute?
Actually, why do I don't have that shirt?
Yeah, we need to get you that shirt.
What store did you get that at? Tell me now.
Yeah.
No, it's really adorable. Where were you? Do you remember the venue you performed at in Columbus?
Mad Lab Theater Company?
Yeah, down on 3rd.
Yes.
It's a great space. I know exactly where it's at.
I gotta tell you, they did an entire, the reason I chose them, I was like looking at different venues, and they did an entire LGBTQ year of theater there, of original LGBTQIA plus plays.
The thing that's unknown about Columbus, Ohio, is that we really are a beautiful, progressive city in the middle, really, of we're a little blue dot in the middle of a red country, and Columbus is so wonderful and fabulous. Like I said, progressive, and I'm glad that's awesome. That's really awesome.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? About how? I mean, I think it's really incredible. I was telling my parents before, I was like, I'm interviewing Nina West. I think it's so amazing that you were on TV, you're on RuPaul's Drag Race. You're choosing to stay in Columbus, correct?
For the time being.
For now.
For the time being. I have chosen. So after Drag Race, I was traveling nonstop before the pandemic, as I'm sure you can relate to. You're living on the road, and you just kind of, especially with these kind of gigs, there's not a big end in sight. And then the pandemic happened, and everyone said, stop, go home, figure out your life. So that's what I'm doing right now. I think I had a plan to make a move, but that has been put on hold. So, right now I am enjoying my time in Columbus, which is my home. I'll probably always have a home here. My parents are here. So I'll probably always have a small place here because it's very important to me. But uh, I am, curious to see what else is out there in the world because I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
It's like, so yeah, I mean, they'll always have a home base in Columbus, but I think there's so much adventure out there. And I think I've worked really hard to have uh, the desire and the excitement to try something new. So
I love
hopefully
that.
that happens.
Do you
Yeah, hopefully that
feel
happens.
do you feel that there's been a noticeable difference in the acceptance of queer people in the middle of Ohio from I remember the story you told on Drag Race. Do you
Hmm.
think that that has changed in the years that you've been there as an adult?
You know, no. I think I think the time period where I told my college story. So I graduated college in 2001, and there was this. I think I had this false sense of safety and security and what because I went to a really small liberal arts school, and that was 45 minutes east of Columbus. And so I grew up in I went to my college upbringing was in a really small liberal arts school, 2,000 students, and so to be out in college was a big deal. At least it felt so to me because there weren't very many other out students. The faculty was more progressive than the student body. And so if that says anything, and you're in college, usually the student body is more progressive, but
Yeah.
not here. And so then, like I had this false sense. I was doing drag in Columbus. I was, it was in this very specific area of Columbus called the Short North, which was known as the gay district at the time. It was just like littered with gay bars and queer bookstores and queer art galleries, and it was just very queer and progressive, like a mini boys town, and in Chicago. And so it was super fabulous. And then gentrification happened and they moved into this neighborhood, and the neighborhood became a really big nightlife area that has lost a bit of its LGBTQ identity. Still strongly identified, but even then, the further you go out from the city, I do feel the ramifications of what would be Trump's America, if we want to call it that. I think any sign of acceptance that we were seeing, even in a pre-Obama America and in an Obama America, was lost in a post-Obama America. And I'm not. And I only use that as a litmus marker. I'm not saying that Obama made things better. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the vitriol of the last 4 years has really deteriorated any conversation that made, I think, any otherness find safety in putting roots down and feeling grounded or acceptable.
Yeah.
So, I think so. I don't think it's necessarily Ohio. I think this is a thing as I'm looking at a map, from the election, or if I'm looking at a map of who thinks the president should not be convicted or should be convicted, or if I'm looking at statistics of who thinks COVID is false, is a false narrative, or they don't need to wear a mask. This kind of conversation is affecting all of us. And I don't think it's necessarily unique to where I'm living. I think it's louder in different parts of the country than others. And so that's tough, right? But I think that's the thing you got to do is you have to protect. I think it's important for someone like me to be able to use my platform and my influence to talk about those things and say, in my community of Columbus, Ohio, this is an unjust thing. This is not right. This is not fair. How do we work towards equity? How do we work towards equality? How do we all get on the same level?
I so appreciate that. And I watched your TED Talk interview in Columbus.
I just gave you my TED Talk. Sorry for that answer. That was so long.
No, I loved it. I think it's really, I mean, is there anyone more interested in your point of view about this than I am? No. As a gay man who also grew up in Ohio, it's like you are speaking directly to my soul. And
how do you feel about that, Tim? I mean, you're from Sandusky, and Sandusky's not it's probably a lot like many other towns in America.
It absolutely is. And I think I really appreciate so much of what you have done, and I can't even begin to tell you how important it is to me as, you know, someone who's close to your age, but it's just so amazing to see an openly gay Ohio person in my media, because I know exactly what you're talking about. And I think the thing that strikes me most about what you said in that TED Talk was about the importance of humanizing everyone and leading with kindness for everyone. Because like you said, I mean, Sandusky, Ohio, I am so proud of my hometown. Like the people that raised me there are unbelievable. And the town is strange because and Nina and I are talking very specifically about Ohio right now, but I'm sure many of you listening to this across the country can relate to this. Sandusky is like 60% white, 40% black, something like that. And I went to an all Catholic school, which I know you did because I was just listening to your podcast, for K through 8, and there were almost only white kids. And then my parents pulled me out of it and sent me to the public high school because they wanted me to have access to choir and a bigger, you know, population, of be around different people. And I'm so grateful that they did that. I don't know if it's because they somewhere in the back of their mind, they were like, he's gay. We need to we need to expose him to other stuff. But they did. And I mean, going to that public high school was a completely different world. It was a completely different experience. And even when I go back to my hometown now, it is strange to see, you know, some of these people who raised me, who love me, who I think accept me for who I am, having a Trump sign in their front yard. You know, these are people that, like, I scraped my knee in their front yard, or like I was ice skating once and my foot went through the ice and they helped me. They nursed me, you know? And to have those conversations with them of like, okay, thank you for doing that for me. Now you also must say Black Lives Matter. Things like that is like, it's tough and beautiful. Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I think what you're bringing up a really important point. That is, small town America is not bad. And I think that's, you know, like, it's so quick, I think, to make the assumption that, oh, closed-minded people live in small town America. I think that we have a responsibility to make sure we turn off news channels that are not giving correct information. I think that's a big part of the problem. People I know there are people in my life who sit with Fox News on all day long. It's playing in the background. They hear this running storyline of the big lie, and they believe it, and it becomes part of their thought process of what's wrong. And I think the truth matters. I think we have got to come back to a conversation where truth is at its core the basis of what we're speaking. We can only speak in truths. We can't speak in conjecture or hearsay or what we would like to have happen. What I would like to have happen is I would like to, you know, have all of the success in the world, a gorgeous husband, a full bank account, and a beach house in the wherever, the beach house in Alaska. But,
in Alaska.
You know, exactly. But what I would like and what the reality are two very different things. And I think it's really important to say, what I hear you say is, like, you know, small town America, because I'm from small town America. I'm from a small town in northeastern Ohio. It's just outside of North Canton, it's for anyone who's not listening, it's a small town. Canton, Ohio is the home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And so I'm from a town just a little bit north of that. But you know, like, there are good people there. And I think it's really important to lead with a conversation, to try to figure out why people think the way they think, to allow them the grace and the ability to I think, understand truth and reality, and also offer forgiveness so that they don't, if we can't be combative. Well, we have to be combative. That's a difficult conversation, because we we have to combat the hate so that we all have equity and equality and access. And but we have to make sure that I think we have to learn how to have a conversation again. And I'm hoping that's what's happened. I hope that's what's ushered in this new era, in this new administration, and how we work together. But we can't leave it up again to our elected officials. It's on us. It's on us. I want to be able to have a conversation with my neighbor who may not agree with me, and those are the days that I hear people talk about. Remember when we would talk, our neighbors would watch our house when we would leave or go out of town, I think that exists very rarely anymore. Yeah. So we have to get back to that.
Yeah. And I think you just hit the nail on the head. We have to figure out how to be productively combative. Like,
that's the exact, that's
you're right.
Such a perfect phrase.
We can't stop. Like, and it is on us. And you have done such a beautiful job of that, the activism.
I've made mistakes too, Tim. I have made mistakes too. And in all ownness, I have made my fair share of mistakes. But I'm grateful that I was offered forgiveness to see and understand and comprehend. Right. I should have known better. I do now. Let my actions prove to you that I will work harder and be better.
Yes.
That's powerful. That is powerful. Take my hand and let me figure it out. Tell me where I'm wrong. Let me figure out what I did. Let me make it right. And if I can't erase my past, I can only try to be better in the future, be better for myself, and in turn, be better for everybody else.
Yeah. You can't take that journey to the past. What were did you have slumber parties growing up? And my favorite thing to talk about with gay people on this pod is, were there things that you loved as a gay kid that you remember that you were like, fuck, I wish I had someone I could talk to about this? Like,
my whole life was a fuck, I wish I had someone that I could talk to about this as a kid. I remember, oh my God, I was invited. The first slumber party I remember going to, I was not in grade school, I was not the kid you invited to the slumber parties. I was outwardly effeminate. Parents knew. They're like, we're not having that kid over.
He can't catch the ball. Leave him at home.
But I remember my friend Andy, and I can say his last name, who's a lovely person, invited me over to a sleepover at his house with him and a couple of his friends. I don't remember. I think it was the first time I tried smoking a cigarette, and my head hurt. And then, but then it came time to go to bed, and I got very uncomfortable and very nervous. And I don't know if it was that I missed home. I don't know what it was. But I said I wasn't feeling well, and my mom had to come pick me up. So I don't remember doing that. That was like the slumber party experience for me wasn't really good until like high school, where I'd be like, go over to I was allowed to sleep over at the girl's house because I was the gay one. Yeah. So not out, but everyone they're like, oh yeah, he's harmless. He can stay over.
He'll be fine. Yeah.
But so I didn't have the joys of a true slumber party until high school, which is crazy.
That's such a common theme with the gay people I interview on this podcast, because I mean, when you think about it, your anxiety could have been attributed to a lot of things, but I had a similar experience. And for me, it was like, how much can I pretend to like the movie Rush Hour? And like, how much, like how much can I
so
fake
young.
this?
Rush Hour. Oh my God. You said, how Rush Hour? Oh my God. Thanks.
What was your straight movie that you were like, oh fuck, they're going to put this on? Did you have one?
What was my straight movie? Oh my God, probably like True Lies. Do you remember True Lies?
I have never seen it, but I know the Jamie Lee Curtis, right? Of it all.
Yeah. I would to give I remember one sleepover that in high school that I had at my friend Andrew. I had a lot of friends saying Andrew. That's also my name. His name was Andrew R. My friend from grade school is named Andy L. But Andrew R. Who I in high school had a sleepover with, was the night that I went over to his house to hang out after a football game, just like sleep over with him and a couple other of our friends. was the night that O.J. Simpson was on the run on the white Bronco. So if that says anything about time period, girl, I just dated myself. O.J. Simpson, white Bronco. That's how old, girl.
Nina,
Check the date.
Stamp it. Stamp the time.
I can tell you where I was on that day.
I remember where I was too because, and I swear this is a true story, one of my favorite teachers in middle school polled us when that happened. We were kids. I think I was 9 or 10 when that happened. And she said, let's go around the room.
I'm older than you.
I think I was just a fetus when I was just a few months.
This is a baby.
She polled us and said, go around the room and say, do you think he did it? We all had to say. And one kid raised his hand and was like, I don't think he could have done it because he was a very good football player. And we just accepted that as fact.
Also, did the teacher have money in Vegas on like whether or not he did it? Why is she asking students? What the hell's that about?
What is going on?
She's like, I really got to see what my odds are. What do your parents think? Do you think he did it? Because basically she's asking what your parents think. When kids repeat something, she wants to know what the parents think.
Oh, that is so true. That is so true.
The psychology, baba.
The psychology. Also, because you're a Disney queen, I have to tell you, Beauty and the Beast.
I'm a huge Disney queen.
What's your fave Disney?
Animated is Beauty and the Beast, 100%.
It's so good.
There are all these, how do you know, like, people use these like superlatives to like say, this movie for me did X, Y, or Z. And I try not to use superlatives too much because I think it over exhausts really what I feel about something. But a movie like Beauty and the Beast, I think really did help me become, I think save my life is a really big stretch, but it did save me in a way. And I know that now. And that's so crazy because I don't want to operate in superlatives. But it's a very important movie to me for that very reason. Like, that's when I was like 13, I started to understand that I was different. And I said in that interview, when I introduced that interview with Alan Menken, I saw a girl who was bookish, who felt different. I was very bookish. I was an overachiever because I wanted to distract from my gayness. Like, don't look at the queer object in the room because I'm smart. I'm smart and I'm really good at acting and I'm a great swimmer and I'm a National Honor Society. Everything I was doing, AP classes, I was just trying to distract from my queerness. Like, I was throwing myself into everything. And Belle was a reflection of that for me. And then there was this beast who was shunned for being this awful creature, and his outwardness scared everyone. He was shunned. That's also reflected. That felt like the inside of me. It was the external and the internal. And I don't know. I think that's why I grabbed onto it. And so, Beauty and the Beast, of course, a live action Mary Poppins. So.
Oh my God.
Sorry, it's like really deep answer.
You're truly speaking the words from my mouth. When I used to do like harmful self-talk, I would look in the mirror as like a 12-year-old boy and say, who could ever learn to love a beast?
Never learned to
love a beast.
A beast.
Also, I remember when Gaston rips his chest open in that scene, saying to the little girl next to me, I like that part. And she goes, you shouldn't tell people that. I was like, okay, shame. I'm gonna internalize this for the next 20 years. You should. Yeah,
but it's if you could have a sexual crush on any cartoon, why wouldn't it be Gaston?
Gaston and King Triton. Like,
Triton is the daddy.
He is the daddy.
The daddy. And what really works, Triton's skin, just imagine, it's probably just like, it looks
so
it's all sinewy and glistening when he comes out of he's like, Ariel, happy wedding. And then he does a rainbow. And I think he's saying he's actually available. My storyline. Have you been at Disney World in Magic Kingdom? There's this giant wood statue of Triton holding a Triton holding a Triton, like that faces the Voyages Under the Sea ride, whatever it is called at Disney World. And you walk off the ride and it's just this gigantic beautiful statue with his nip. It's very, yeah. You should look into it.
That's the first place I'm going once the world reopens. I'm looking at
Oh
that.
no, I've got other suggestions first.
Not Disney World.
I mean, I might go there.
Were you a theater
You could
kid?
ever learn to love a
A
beast.
beast. Look, there she goes. That girl is strange, no question. If I ever got a tattoo, it would be
Dave's
that.
been distracted. Can't you tell? Was I a theater kid?
Yeah, were you a theater kid?
Yes. Oh my God. I was, yeah. I felt everything so deeply because that's what I thought I had to do. Like, I was like, I don't know. Kim feels a certain way in Miss Saigon. I do too. I can't live without you. I mean, like it didn't matter what the storyline was. If it was King and I and Tim is singing "We Kiss in a Shadow," it was like, I must be secret. Like everything was so it heightened for me, and I was and I blamed that on my love of theater. And then just because like if that was the scenarios that played out for me. And all my friends are theater kids and we're theater nerds. I mean, we would sing along to the cast recording of Les Mis, or we would sing along to Miss Saigon or Phantom. It was I'm not dating myself, am I? Those were the popular musicals at the time. At my high school graduation were Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk, and
Rent, right? That was the same year.
Huge. Rent was I think the year before. Huge. Rent was like also life changing for me. That's another. Trying not to use a superlative, but like Rent was like. You were talking about queer people being together, celebrating queerness boldly. When they get to bisexuals, trisexuals, homo sapiens, when you get to that part of La Vie Boheme, it's like, it felt freeing. Yeah, but I was a theater kid. Were you a theater kid?
100%. But again, why I wanted to do this podcast, I hid it for a long time. I didn't sign up for I was like you in high school. I was captain of the swim team, tennis team, all that stuff. And then I didn't start doing theater until I was a junior because I didn't want people to call me gay. So I would go to Best Buy and get the Aida album and blare it in my car, and then like Wicked and Rent and learn all this stuff about it and not have anyone to talk to about it because there was nobody. Yeah. There was one out gay person at my high school and I was just like, one out of all of it? Like I can't do that. Yeah.
It's interesting to me because I did the very same thing. I adopted a behavior once I got my driver's license in high school. I would go to a record store and I would buy something that felt queer, that felt gay in some way. And most of the times that was a cast recording, and that for whatever reason gave me comfort. That's really weird that you say that because I did that behavior.
Isn't that strange that a lot of us make that our safe space? Like going into the Sam Goody and looking at the musical section, I think was a way for many of us to be like, oh, this is mine. Like this, I have ownership over this tiny little space in this record store that, nobody else is coming over. Nobody else was like, excuse me, could you get out of the way? I need to grab a copy of The Woman in White. I was like, you're alone usually over there and you get to just kind of sit and look at these pretty gay things. I also went to the movie store once and tried to rent the non-blurred out season of Real World New Orleans where you could see them naked.
Oh, what's his name's butt? Wasn't that a big thing? But who was it?
Danny.
Was he gay? Wasn't he gay?
He was gay. Yeah, he was gay.
That was huge. I mean, you are younger than me, but that was a big pop cultural touchstone. That was huge.
Huge. And his boyfriend was in the military, and so they blurred out his boyfriend's face because of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
That's right. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
It was crazy. But I went to the movie store.
How old are you?
I'm 19. Just turned 19.
Oh my god, it's so funny. I'm 24.
I'm 33.
I'm 20. I'm 24. Okay, so I mean, I see the gap. Okay, yeah. So how old were you when you did that?
I was
Real world?
probably in high school. Like, I think I had like as soon as I got my license, I was probably like 16. That's when I was like, I'm getting naked guys on video at the video store.
I will never forget that. I obviously did. I forgot that.
What
Come
shows
on, Danny.
did you do in high school?
Oh my god, our high school shows. Freshman year was what was it? Music Band. Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon. So we did Music Band, and then we did. Oh, I did. Bye Bye Birdie. I was Conrad Birdie.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you gotta be sincere. I don't know if anyone knows. Okay, Conrad Birdie. Bye Bye Birdie. We did Godspell. And we did, what was my sophomore? I forget what the other one was. Something, probably a classic. I bet I can't remember off the top of my head.
Godspell is such a, for whatever reason, such a queer experience, I think, for a lot of people. People are like, a lot of people in high school did Godspell, and that's like, I remember having like a huge crush on the guy that played Jesus when we did it in high school. And just being like,
I think it's like a requirement to get through, like to do through high school. You got to do Godspell.
Yeah.
Like,
it's one of those shows where like
everybody
there can be a lot of
knows
parts. Yeah, you can like really use the ensemble. All right.
Yeah.
We're running out of time, so I want to make sure we play a segment that I like to call "Wait, let's have fun."
Right, let's have
fun. In this segment, we're gonna play some slumber party games, and I have a very special Marry, Fuck, Kill for you.
Oh God!
This is an Ohio version of Marry, Fuck, Kill for you, and it is.
We're outside of Ohio. Don't worry. It's a chicken. It's the chicken, a cow, a sheep.
But I made it so that most people will understand, because a lot of these places are actually national chains, but we just like to claim them in Ohio. Skyline Chili.
You sure do. Cincinnati.
Buffalo Wild Wings, which obviously is everywhere, but
that's from Ohio?
Okay, maybe this isn't a thing in Columbus, but in Sandusky, we act like we invented Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, we literally are like we claim it as like like that. Putting ranch dressing on everything, I think, is a big part of it.
Ranch dressing is not a side here in Ohio. It's a beverage. It's a beverage in Ohio. It's like, what are you drinking? Are you a Trenta iced coffee? Oh, I'm having a Grande Ranch. Yeah, it's not like it's so true. It's like it really is true. Okay, so what are my choices?
Skyline Chili, Buffalo Wild Wings, and Grater's Ice Cream.
You're the devil. Okay, kill Skyline Chili because I actually don't like it.
Okay,
like,
that's easy.
It's easy. And you live in Los Angeles. I have a friend who's from Cincinnati who lives in LA, who goes to the store and buys the canned Skyline Chili because he loves it so much. And I'm like, you are a fool. Take it out of your diet. It's disgusting. And for those of you who have never had it, it's like there's like a cinnamony nutmeg quality to the chili topping, and then they put it on pasta, and it's not good for me. Okay, so I'm gonna give you all the reasons. And look, I'm a bitch who can eat. I don't eat that. So no, kill Skyline Chili, marry Grater's Ice Cream because, like I said previously, I'm a girl who can eat, and then the house down for the Buffalo Wild Wings.
Right?
Like, let them have it. Let them have it.
Yes.
And come back for more.
The blazing hot, the sizzling hot. I love Buffalo.
I like
Wild
that
Wings.
garlic topping.
Yes. There's
Bitch,
garlic parmesan. I'm not fucking.
Okay,
around.
you're not playing. You're not playing. You say no, bitch. It's called garlic parmesan, not just garlic.
This is the real deal. I order it every week. Okay, so then if we were at a slumber party together, is there a movie that you would want to pop on?
Why did that sound so sexual?
It can be.
Is there a movie you'd want to pop on? Michael, your boyfriend's here producing. Michael.
You just see him come in the room
Hi,
and throw something at me.
If I was having a slumber party, I would Oh my God, honestly, for the sheer nostalgia of it, I would put in Scream because I think that is such a great like slumber party movie. It just feels people should be watching. You can, it feels you can interrupt with like conversation, but you can never say "I'll be right back," or you can't be the virgin always dies. Like I don't know, I love that movie.
Don't kill
So
me,
I think
Mr.
that'd be fun.
Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel. It's
Uh,
I can hear the listeners of this podcast screaming where they are because I say it all the time. It's that's my favorite movie of all time, hands down.
is it really?
Yes, I just had Trixie on last week, and we talked about it for so long. It is. I watched it when I was 8 years old because I have an older brother and sister, and they showed it to me way too young. But it instilled this I felt so fucking cool after seeing it that went into school yeah, I watched an R-rated movie. And for a full 3 days, I was popular.
I want to tell you, I was an usher in a movie theater when Scream came out, and 1993 or 94. So Scream has a very different meaning for me. I used to walk into that theater and clean up after it. There'd be broken condoms. There'd be vomit.
Up.
I mean, it was no, it was fucking disgusting. But it definitely holds a special place in my heart. And I don't care what anybody says. Nev Campbell deserves an Oscar.
Trixie said the exact same thing. And
no, she did not.
Yes,
I'm hanging up.
Also, I love that you had your hand on the back of your neck as you said that because that's her signature move. Nev Campbell's always just kind of she's always a little cold
hanging.
and a little, she's she has a neck ache about how scared she is.
She's cotton weary.
Who's
cotton weary?
Oh, she's so good at being
cotton weary. Can you imagine if his name was polyester weary? Poly blend weary.
Poly blend weary. Oh, gold.
Oh my God, poly blend.
I agree 100%. She is so good. She's that movie is very feminist, and she said she's just constantly. And the fact that she keeps doing them and they keep being good is
what's this new one gonna be? Do you have any? I know you've got some tea. Come on.
All I know,
you're a fan.
Okay. All I know is they all said after 3, I will never ever do it again. Then Kevin Williamson wrote. He was on the set of Gossip Girl, got the idea, and was like, "Oh my God, I have to leave set right now." And then got the idea for 4, being the idea that people love fame so much that they want to be the killer, which is genius. And then all I know about all I know about 5 is that she says they also said after 4 they wouldn't do it anymore. And then the directors of Ready or Not, that horror movie that came out 3 years ago, I haven't seen it, but
I've not seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
I think it's about a blonde bride who wants to join a family, and they're you can join the family if we don't kill you, or something crazy like that. But Nev Campbell saw that movie and was I love it, I will do it. And so now because she was Wes Craven's no longer with us, so she was I can't do it without him. And but she loved that movie so much that she was I trust you guys to do this movie. So that's all I know.
Does she own any part of that? No,
I have no idea.
Does she have any?
That's a good question. She should.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because she needs to get a lifetime achievement award in Academy.
Yeah. Okay, I have to let you go because I do not want to keep you past your time. But before you go,
Love you.
Before you go, I do have to quickly thank you for something. And I apologize if I'm going to get emotional, but when I was saying I didn't know any gay people growing up, there was one gay guy in the town near me. His name is Dominic Manafo, and he moved to Columbus, and my friends told me that he was a fan of yours from the drag scene in Columbus, and he had complications with HIV, and he passed away from it. Somebody my age, and they told me that they messaged you. This is before you were on the show, and you went to the hospital to just spend time with him because he was a fan. And there's a lot of trauma that we have, I think, within our gay community around how to interact with each other. And the fact that you did that is so kind and so monumentally huge for me and the people that knew him and that we grew up with. And so I just wanted to say thank you.
Thanks for saying that. You know, I'll never forget the day that I got that call to ask to come to the hospital to see Dominic. And I was really emotional about it because I knew that he was in the last stages of his life. And so I didn't know how appropriate it was for me to be there. Because it's a really sacred space.
Yeah.
So it's probably the most important thing I've ever done. I've never talked about it, you know, but that was something that really hammered home the importance of of what I do. And, you know, you're always so focused on yourself, trying to get yourself someplace. And that was the first time in a long time that I was afforded a very generous opportunity to stop and really take an evaluation of my life and do something that meant something to somebody else in a very monumental way. Dominic was a great person, full of life and full of love and joy and kindness, and to be there on that day was a very important thing for me. And I appreciate you saying that. I'm very grateful to the family and to his friends for allowing me the opportunity to be there.
I'm very grateful to you that you did that. So we were at rival high schools from each other, but we weren't close. And then we started hanging out when we both came out, when we would go home like for Thanksgiving break and stuff. And it's just his presence in my life, seeing him on the cheerleading team at the rival high school was like, I mean, again, not to speak in superlatives, but I think in this case it's important too. He had such a hugely positive impact on my life. So to hear from friends that another gay person went and had an impact on him at the end of his life had an impact on my life. And I think that's what's so great about you, Nina, is that kindness ricochets, and it's beautiful. And I think us even having this conversation and putting this out into the world on like a gay comedy podcast, when we often talk about, you know, sexual stuff and the many sides of what it means to be a gay person, I think this is really nice, and I am really honored and happy that we are keeping his name alive. And
you know, we have a responsibility as queer people. I think for many of us, no one's going to understand me quite like another queer person ever will. You know, and I feel like we have got a responsibility to one another, that is forever an important day. And I think it just echoes the sentiment that we have to be responsible for one another. We have to hold each other accountable, and we have to lift each other up. And we have to remember that our steps that we walk are very, very precious and important to somebody else. And we have to take that into consideration.
Yeah. And
I really appreciate that. Thanks.
I really, really appreciate you doing this. I really appreciate you doing that. And I really appreciate everything that you do in general. I hope you know your presence matters. And if you're listening to this, say something kind to a fellow gay person, because that's what I'm learning, and I hope that we continue to spread. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you. You're truly such a wonderful presence, and can't thank you.
You're incredible. I really appreciate this. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah. Bye, you guys.
Thank you.
So obviously that got very vulnerable for both of us. I had been debating whether or not to bring that up in the interview because it's obviously a sensitive subject for both of us. but it was really important to me to acknowledge Nina's kindness and what she did for someone that I knew, someone who I had lost touch with. And I found out about Dominic's death on social media, and it was really, really sad and really scary. And to know that there are gay people out there with the platform that Nina has, using their platform for good, I think is really special. And I'm really honored to have interviewed her. And I'm really grateful that I was able to thank her and that we were able to talk about that. I know these are obviously really scary times, and I hope that this episode healed you a little bit and reminded you that humans are good and that we're going to get through this and do the best that we can to help each other out. If you want to follow Nina, I highly recommend doing so at Nina West. She has the Nina West Foundation, which is an incredible organization. If you want to donate to that, I highly recommend that as well. And I know that this continues to be a really uneven and scary time for all of us. So if you're feeling directionless, I highly recommend that you go west. See you next week. Bye.